Okay guys, this is Tom, and I'm doing a quick response to CC from Cycle Cruiser from about this Perrini jacket, armored jacket. It's pretty good for the money, I guess. It's a dual sport rig. I got it because I wanted a little more airflow, something that was cooler for summer. The only thing, well, not really the only thing, but one of the things that I worried about was that there wasn't quite enough elbow protection. So I took an old elbow pad out of a Icon jacket. It was a pad I wasn't using anymore, and I riveted it directly onto the original pad on the Perrini. The original pads are kind of a hard, more of a slider than they are a pad, and the padding underneath them is kind of not that shock absorbent. So I put this on here, which is kind of a rubberized vinyl, and to get you some protection from that initial impact, you know, because if your elbow hits, it's just like pap, you know. So I wanted something to deaden that impact, and I'm gonna probably put some more rivets on it, but it doesn't really matter if it comes off to me anyway. I just wanted to be able to hold for that initial strike, that initial impact when you hit the ground. Alright, it does have some shoulder protection, which is pretty good. The plastic on it's very hard, kind of plasticky. I heated this up with a blow dryer and kind of formed it better to my chest. These little shoulder pieces for me were a little too long, so I punched a hole in them and then kind of used a pair of scissors and ground it out like a drill and moved them. Did it on the front and the back. Make these shorter. That way they're not sticking up so high and they don't hit your helmet, and they kind of support the back and the front a little bit better. Put this cigarette out. One thing that's happening is that this elastic waistband's already starting to separate. The stitching failed right there, and it's just stitched into place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back in there, rivet it. Rivets are a good thing to have, guys. You can get these at Tandy Leather. They're just a little two-piece rivet. You punch a hole with a tool. It's a little hole punch, and you pop a rivet through it. Seal the rivet with a pair of pliers. You just kind of squeeze it, scrunch it. Where's that little hole punch tool that I had? I was going to show you guys what that looks like. Well, I don't have it here. It looks like a pair of pliers. You squeeze it, and it's got a little rotating head on it with a bunch of little like hollow spikes, and it'll punch a hole through anything. But it's a leather tool. You can get that at Tandy Leather. It's good if you have motorcycle armor. It's good to have things like rivets and have a knowledge of leathercraft. That'll help. Now, we were talking about the difference between a Stryker system and the Perrini. The Stryker is a lot heavier. It's heavier and it's more rubberized. It's a lot better quality. And it's got something in there called D3O. You can kind of see it. It's like that red mesh. It's here too. It's almost kind of like a rubberized mesh, and it dissipates impact real well. CC said something about these side fixtures, and it's just velcroed on, and it's just these two elastic straps right here. So there's some give when you hit. And I've been down twice in it, and it's never came loose. They want this to flex before it will rip, you know, and it does work. So it sits on there nice. It's lined with Hydro Dry, which kind of wicks the moisture away, but it's a lot thicker. Maybe I don't know, 3 or 4 times thicker. And these are the elbow pads that it comes with. They're real thick and real padded on the inside. Same materials. They've lasted pretty well. These are maybe 3.5 years old. You can see there's damage on them where I went down before. About time to replace these. But in my case, I'm not sure I moved up by buying that Perrini. The only thing I'm really getting out of that is a little shoulder protection that this one doesn't offer, and maybe a little bit more airflow. Now, the Stryker system was different. It really wasn't supposed to be worn on its own. It was supposed to be used in conjunction with the jacket. And in an Icon jacket, the shoulder armor is inside the jacket to complete it. So you get a lot of protection from Icon Stryker mixed with an Icon jacket. It's just that, you know, it's a little warm for the summer. And I have one of Icon's lightest jackets. It's a black mesh jacket. It blows right through it. And you know, this mesh here that this little armor system is made out of, this will just vaporize when it hits the ground. You'll get some protection in your major areas, mostly sliding protection. But if this ever touches, you're going to get road rash there, which is not really that big of a deal. That's kind of the name of the game. If you're going to ride around without a jacket, you're probably going to get road rash. Now, something else. I know CC likes inexpensive stuff that are a bargain. CC, you might want to check out this Dual Sport helmet. It's an AFX 41. I have a review on it. I wasn't real impressed with it when I first got it, but I've gotten used to it. I think my major gripe was that it was very loud. There's a lot of airflow. It's nice and cool, but it's loud. You don't want to be doing a whole lot of time over 70. But I've gotten used to it. It's you kind of get numb to all that wind and all that sound after a while. It's not like a street helmet or a sport helmet. But the visor doesn't tug on you or anything. Then I found these gauntlets, these gloves. It kind of reminded me of the Icon T-Max. And they were cheap, man. They were only like 40 bucks. And build quality is really maybe a little bit better in certain ways than my $110 pair of Joe Rockets. But then again, with these, you're going to want to hit these with leather dye, because they're kind of brownish when you first get them. You want to hit them with leather dye, which is cheap. You can get that at the grocery store. And then you want to hit them with a bunch of leather conditioner, and then top them off with some black shoe polish. Just regular shoe, you know, leather shoe kit stuff. And once you do that, that leather kind of swells up and gets a lot thicker than it did and looks a lot better. But I think these were called Excalibur motorcycle gloves. And I think they were 40 bucks, 45 bucks. But that's probably the best glove I've ever seen in that price range. It's got a Kevlar knuckle guard and little finger guards with little metal sliders put on them. Just kind of look cool. There's Kevlar in there too. They look rough when you first get them out of the package, but you can clean them up pretty well. But yeah, getting back to that, I'd try to add some extra padding on that elbow. And you might want to reinforce certain places on this where there's pulling. Reinforce them with some rivets if you want them to last a long while. I almost considered just separating this entire back plate from the jacket and the front plate, and just wearing the jacket with the arms and the shoulders, and then putting my Icon over that. But I wasn't really sure. That might be kind of redundant, and I don't know if I moved forward price-wise by doing that, because that was still, I think, $70, I think it was. And you know, shit, really all I needed was a new pair of well, you know, I can still wear these. Really all I would have to do is just add some kind of shoulder protection to that, and I think it would have ended up being better than that. But if you don't have an Icon and you just want to buy this on your own, it's okay. Although for full protection, you're going to want to wear a nylon jacket, at least over that, some kind of ballistic nylon. If it's real hot, you know, you're going to want, you know, you're wearing some protection, but it's not complete protection. But some protection is better than no protection. Is that better than a damn t-shirt? Fuck yeah. Is that as good as, say, a nice jacket with armor like that underneath it? No. No, but that's a lot more expensive right there. Alright, with jacket, full Stryker system, you're probably looking at $350 to get a rig like that. But I think the protection's better. You know, you get what you pay for.